Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. Welcome to today's video. It's on pellets. Lots of pellets, thousands of them, and an empty tin. Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? Well, on Friday I released a video on my BSA Super 10, which I'm having accuracy issues with. I can't remember the last time I put a video out that had so many comments. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of good information in the comments, and thank you so much. You know I love it when you leave me comments. It lets me know things. It's you sharing your knowledge with me is invaluable. And there's a lot of good ideas for me to test for my BSA Super 10, and I will be doing a video on that straight after this one. But obviously, one of the first things to do is test the gun with different pellets. Now, not all guns like the same pellets, not all guns that are otherwise identical like the same pellets. There's always a difference, so testing your pellets is important. And I've over the years, I've accumulated an awful lot of pellets. We do, it happens. And then, because I never have many 177 pellets, because I don't really shoot 177 much, I think when I first got the Super 10, I said on there that I've only got a couple of different types of pellets to try with it. So my mate Mike, who lives down the road that way at Aubterre, he dropped me around a box with tins and tins and tins of pellets in it, and it's just like, right, okay, well, I've got to sort through those. So I've grabbed all the pellets I could find, all the tins I can find, and what we're going to do today, first I'm going to split them into calibers, and then look at each one and in the calibers and have a look at the pellets and find out. I'm going to say what I think about each pellet and what order they should go from got to try it in every gun I've got, right down to got a laugh, who bought them. So that's what we're doing, and that's what it's going to be, and it's going to lead to accuracy testing with the BSA Super 10, which, as I say, I think the gun needs coming apart. We're going to be looking at that next. And that really is it. So without any further ado, let's start sorting these out. Now, I've got my varifocals on so that I can read what it says on the tin. And I'm going to put them from 177 to 25, and that is a 22. So immediately we're off, you know, whoosh and zoom. It shouldn't take me too long to sort them out, I'm hoping. Ooh, there should be a special place reserved in hell for lead-free pellets. They're lead-free, but what size are they? 2 5s. 2 2s. Now I know they're 2 2s because I know what gun I've bought those for. Now I'm going to pause this right here because I haven't taken my hay fever tablet. My eyes have already started streaming. I'll be back. I'm back. I've had a tablet. I've also put some clip-ons on my varifocals because it could just be because it's so damn bright. Although mostly I think it's because Marcel, our gardener, has been here today. He's trimmed everything, so you'll see it's nice and tidy all around the trees and stuff like that. He's about 104, but he's still going. So where was I? I was sorting pellets, wasn't I, rambling on. 2 2 2 2. These are mostly going to be 2 2. Oh, there's a tin of 177s because that's what I shoot. Not for reasons you may think. You know, I'm not getting into that whole 2 2 177 thing again. I've done a video on that and I stand by it. Everything what I said in that I believe to be true. For me, with me dodgy thumbs and sausage fingers, I find 2 2's an awful lot easier to load. Also, in a Springer, well, in any gun, 2 2's more efficient than 177, which means in a Springer, for the same given power, you will have less cocking effort and less recoil. So that's a good enough reason on its own. And the advantage that you may get with flatter trajectory on a 177 pellet only really comes into its own past 37 yards, 35 to 37 yards, depending on the pellet. And realistically, I believe that's too far for hunting with a Springer. because of the nature of a Springer. I think a Springer is more a close range thing. So a 2.2, you're going to make a bigger hole, hit it just, well, oh, but we won't get into that. Now that, people often say, oh, what is it, a 1.77 pellet instead of a 177 pellet. These are 1.77 pellets. Look at that. Look at the difference. There's a bit of a size difference between 0.177 and 1.77. These are actually, I make these are lead. I mould these myself and shoot them through my 12 bore. I've got a rifled pump action 12 bore, and that's my slugs for those. So they're not really, I'll put them over there. Supposed to be in this. Oh, look at these boxes of Crossmans. Are they ones? I'm taking it these are 177s because these will have come from, oh no, 2.0s. These will have come from Mike. Oh, and some 2.2s. Look at that. Wowzers, more 2.0s. The Holy Grail. We'll come to that. We will come to that. Flying Scots, but you're empty. That's a full tin. I hurt my shoulder picking that one up. Another tin of them. These have come from Mike. That's good. These are 9mm Flowberts. They're for my 9mm shotgun. I don't know if I've done a video on specifically on my 9mm shotgun yet. But I can if you want me to. You can get them in the UK, but bizarrely you have to have a license for it, even though it's not a lot of cop. What have I got in here? What have I got in here? I've got 6mm Flowbert rounds, which again aren't pellets, they shouldn't be in here. And I've got a 32 rimfire revolver. I have done a video on that one, or a couple of them. 32 rimfire revolver. And I reload my own ammunition for it with an offset 2.2 Acorn blank as the primer for the rimfire to set off the powder charge to send out the bullet. I did attempt to make my own rimfire rounds that took a 7mm Hilti charge, and they're in my 6mm Flowbert box. They worked, sort of, but then I bought the proper things and they work an awful lot better, so you know, it kind of wasn't worth it after that. Well, 177s, there's a lot of things on here I don't actually recognise, which will be interesting. So it's something about me snuffling. Hay fever is a terrible affliction, as any of you have got it will know. I didn't get it till I was in my 30s. Didn't get it till I was in my 30s, which is a bit odd. Went all those years without it, then all of a sudden in the summer, started snuffling and sneezing and my eyes streaming. Thought, oh, it's hay fever. But I don't get hay fever. You do now. Nasty. Superdomes. Oh, ho, 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 what are you? Wowzers, I remember them. Blast from the past. Pest controls 2.2. Champion. Sorry, I've got to have a quick look. What the hell was that all about? Honestly, we'll get to that. We will get to that. They've had some funny old shapes in the past, and really, you've got to wonder why. I suppose. I suppose what it is, it's like with fishing. They say that most fishing equipment is designed to catch the fisherman, not the fish. And I think that's true of a lot of shooting equipment as well. The latest, greatest, fancy, this does this, that and the other funny shape. Oh, I've got to have those. Not necessarily as good as you might expect. We're getting towards the end of this now. There's some weird stuff in here. Silhouettes. Be careful, shoot safely. Wise words. Now, they are, oh, pretty. What's this? What's that then? That's a cigarette case, surely. No, they've gone manky, but they're in there. God, I wonder why these tins never caught on. 2 2s, 177s, and the last one, bingo, bango, bongo, some more 2 2s. So let's start with the ones I've got the least of, because it'll be nice and quick. My 25 caliber. Now, I've only got one gun in 25, and that's a BSA Lightning. And frankly, I'd stand more chance of hitting the target if I threw it. Royal Dogs really are. But then I've got King Exact Diablos. I bought these to try and give a fair crack of the whip to the Lightning. I'm not going to buy multiple tins to see if it gets any better, because I don't believe it ever will. It's something I've got for nostalgic reasons, not to actually shoot. I love it and hate it all at the same time, and also one after the other. It's currently on the naughty step. We're not friends at the moment. So that's 25 caliber. Then here we've got 2.0 caliber. Now this is probably the caliber that's spoken about the most. Oh, 2.0 caliber. It's in hushed tones. It flies flatter than a 2.2, but with more hitting power than a 177. Why isn't it the most popular pellet? We're just not in the habit of buying them. In America, they sell a lot of them. These 4 tins here, they're all Sheridan tins. And it's Sheridan and their pump ups that started using the 2.0 pellets. They were, I believe, the first to use 2.0 pellets, or certainly the first to make a success of using the 2.0 pellet. I've got a video on a Sheridan Blue Streak, a 1974, I believe, Sheridan Blue Streak that I found in minty fresh condition. Check that out, because it's an interesting video. But these pellets here, we've got Diablos, pointed, and so I've got 3 just bog standard round pellets, and I've got 1 tin of Sheridan pointed. And I can't open it because I don't know how long that tin's been shut. That one's still sealed, look. You can see these are Mike's. He collects stuff like this, not on purpose. It just kind of, you'll see it go, ooh, and take it home with him. That one's still a sealed tin. That one's sealed because it's so old, and I don't really want to break the seal. It was £1.10 when it was new. The label's still on it. In today's guns, I do have 2 2.0 caliber rifles. I have 2 of our Cone Wolves, the special edition TBT Cone Wolf, which was an HW99 with a 2.0 caliber barrel in a custom stock that I tuned. And Andy Blackmax, who does my tuning, fits my kits in the UK, he also tunes record trigger units and changes the geometry. Is it geometry? I think it is. Geometry slightly as well. They're fantastic rifles, and I've got 2 of them, one in a CS 500 stock and one in a CS 700 stock. My wife keeps saying to me, why have you got 2 of them? You don't need 2 of them. So one may be available soon. And they're the pellets I use with it, the Exacts, because they work. I could do testing of pellets and find different pellets. Well, I could now, because I've got some premiers here as well. I might do. If anybody wants to see that, I'll do that. But the thing is, and the reason 2.0 just isn't popular, is you can't get that many pellets in it. And that's a double-edged sword. Some people say, well, you can't get many pellets in it, so you don't have the choice. But also, they don't tend to make the vajazzle pellets in 2.0, you know, the fancy French ticklers with the added sticky out bits, because there's not enough of a market for it. And realistically, the only pellet you need is the one that your gun likes. Find a pellet that your gun's actually accurate with, and that's it, job done. You only need one. So it's a double-edged thing, but 2.0 never really took off. I like it. I like it because Theoben used to use them a lot as well, and I do love Theoben. So that's my 2.0s and 2.5s dealt with. And look at all these 177s and 2.2s. More than I expected in the 177s, but I'll be honest with you, most of these have come from Mike. Now, what I've got here, I'm going to start with because it's closest to me. These are ones I bought. These are Excites. They are a low ricochet BB. Look at them. You look at them and think, oh, it's just a BB. No, these are copper coated lead ball bearings, which means as long as you're using it from a gun that wants that size, because bear in mind a lot of BB guns are actually 4.4mm, not 4.5, but that means you can shoot these and they don't ricochet. The biggest problem with the steel BBs is they ping around all over the place, and you do need to be careful. You do need to wear your safety glasses, all that. Well, you do anyway, regardless. Always wear your safety gear, kids. But they are good and they're not very expensive. So if you're into that kind of thing, try some of those. Then I've got some match here. Let's go through and find what match pellets I've got. Bam, 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 bam. Now, a match pellet, I am choosing to be classed as any pellet with a flat head on it. Okay, so basically a wad cutter. It's just a perfectly flat circle on the front of it. The reason for that is when you're shooting at a paper target, it cuts a clean hole, makes it easier for scoring. Now, some people say that's all they're good for. I disagree. I think these flat-headed pellets are absolutely fantastic for rat shooting at close range, for the very same reason that they're good on paper. They punch a hole straight through. No, you know, it's if you're hunting with an air rifle, forget expansion. You don't get expansion in air rifle. It's not enough to matter. At least you need 1800 feet a second for that. Normally, with an air rifle, the absolute perfect shot is one that goes in this side of the animal and stops against the skin on the other side. If it goes straight through and carries on, that is wasted energy. You want it to put all of its energy into your target. So you want it to stop just there. So every single ounce of energy has been dispersed into your target. With a 177, the biggest problem you have is they just zip straight through. The animal runs away, it will die, but it will run away and die somewhere else. It can happen. 177 is a good hunting round. I'm not saying it isn't, but you do need to try and find the most accurate pellet that will stop within your target. And for close range, out to medium range with some guns and some pellets, these are good. So we've got Bisley Practice, which weren't a particularly expensive pellet. I've got geckos here, a sealed tin of geckos. These are probably mine, so I have ordered some of these for a pistol. These are very cheap. They do the eco ranges on H&N as well. Hobbies, you will remember from the days of the magazines, if they put powers in a review, they would always put the power with hobbies, because in a Springer, more often than not, a hobby would give the highest power reading. This is because Springers prefer a lighter pellet. They will perform better. They will get a better result on paper with a light pellet, and hobbies were one of the lightest. They're a 7-grain pellet, one of the lightest available, and they would always give a high reading. But then we come on to our match Klugens, which are your 10-meter rifle and target pistols. This one's pellets, sorry. This one is for pistols. Match flathead pellets. Ely match, which I know nothing about, but I like the tin because it's got a picture of a target on the front and all the pellets have gone into the ball, so they must be good. And then we've got this tin here, which H&N match. It had, looking at that, it had a lovely foam top on it, and it's a lovely hinged lid tin where the hinge is actually broken. The foam has dissolved and it's now just nasty, but I bet they were special in their day. They'd take some cleaning up to even use now. So that's your match grade pellets. If you're shooting at paper or close range hunting, look at those. And there's another tin of hobbies as well, an open one. Next, we are going to look at, have I got any French ticklers here? 1, 2, 3. These are, will I say French tickler? Pointless. Silly designs. Potentially. First of all, Look at these. I mean, this, if we say the BSA Lightning's the worst gun ever made, these are the worst pellets ever made, and they're just horrible in every possible way. These are Prometheus pellets. Now, what you've got is some kind of zinc alloy head on the front there in a plastic body, which means they are exceedingly light. They don't deform at all. There's no weight on here, unfortunately. I should have brought some scales up with me. They don't deform at all. So in there, if you're using them for hunting, in the target, it's not going to expand at all. But you didn't really have to worry about that because it wouldn't hit the target ever. But here's the thing. Ask me how I know this. If you shoot at a 2p piece at point blank range repeatedly, it will eventually go through. Because they don't deform, they'll eventually, you'll bulge, and it'll go through, and you go, oh, I shot a hole in a 2p. Ask me how I know that. Now, the reason I have these is they're a warning from history. Don't do it again. The plastic lines the rifling in the gun. It just strips out and lines the rifling. It's horrible. You have to clean it all out before you can even get a decent group with a proper pellet afterwards. They are horrible. I did throw these away once. They missed the bin. Awful, terrible pellets. Now, this is going to cause some argument. Bisley Pest Control. People go, no, they're a great pellet. I've never found a gun that particularly liked them. The idea was you got a little cup on the front there and they would expand when they hit the target. They do a bit. They do a bit. But again, not enough to really matter. Because they're a semi-wad cutter, they've got that hollow in the front there, and because they do expand a little bit, in 177 they are good in that they will slow down quicker than a round head pellet. And if you do find a gun that likes them, they are good because you have more chance of it stopping against the skin on the other side of your target rather than zipping straight through. But I'm putting them with the Vajazzles simply because I've never found a gun that groups well with them, or better than anything else with them. These don't look as silly as they did on the tin. Well, okay. Now, on the tin, they look like that. They've got a protuberance on the front. In real life, it's just a very, very fine line around the outside. They're not as silly as I expected them to be, judging by the picture on the tin. They don't look like that at all. It looks like a normal dome-headed one. So that's the daft ones out the way. And this leaves us with our choices of pellets. And we are going to look at these and decide where they are going to go from worstest to bestest. And the actual answer to that is always going to be the most accurate one in your... people say, what pellet should I use in my gun? I want to go hunting. What type of pellet should you use? The most accurate. Forget the rest. It doesn't matter. If that pellet is more accurate than others in your air rifle, that is the one you should be using. We have got... Okay. These ones here, Vipers, which I'd never heard of. For a start, it's saying that, bear with. It could just be the magnifying effect. No, it isn't. I was going to say it could be the magnifying effect of my varifocals, but it says 177 on the tin. But they don't half look like 2.2s, and that's exactly what they are. So have I got one here that says it's a 2.2? These have come from Mike. You can tell. I think he brushes them with rust before he brings them over to me. Crikey. No, they're flipping heck. Ooh, they they are 2.2s, but we'll come to them. This has got 177 on the tin. It really isn't, so I'm moving that. Sorry about that. So I was going to say they're the one I'm not sure of, because I've not heard of a Viper. They could have been good, they could have been bad. They're 2.2, they're irrelevant. Millbrook Caledonians. Now, when we was kids, I lived in Sissinghurst, but Cranbrook was our nearest town with a sports shop. And in that sports shop, they sold air rifle pellets. and occasionally they'd let us buy them. Depends who was serving in there, but the only pellets they had were Marksman. Do you remember Marksman pellets? They were terrible, and they came in a little cardboard box, but they were very cheap. But they were cheap for a reason, but they were the only ones we could get. If we went to the next town over, got a bus or something, the sports shop there sold Milborough Caledonians. Now if we got some Milborough Caledonians, we thought we were the knees of the bees, but they're not that great. By modern standards, they're not that great. So they are going to go there, starting my worst to best. But then I've just spotted I have some Scotsman, Flying Scots, Webley Flying Scots. Now these have got a twin ring on the front of them. I remember that because that was supposed to be, the twin ring was supposed to give extra power because it sealed it better against the sides. I'm going to have to try these pellets, but I'm going to put them down with the Caledonians. I think they might be better than the Caledonian because the Caledonians even look nasty. I think they were probably very good for their time. And also good for their time was the Ely Wasp. Oh my days! That had the sellotape on it. 1998, week 25. So they're only 27 years old. 1998 was 27 years ago. Deal with it. Jeez. So, middle June 1998, these were born. But the reason I said, "Cool, blimey," when I opened it, I've got the little card inside of it, my warning. See, this is how you can tell it was 90s, not 80s, because it came with a warning. Warning. I'm just going to get the varifocals in the right place now. Lead pellets, do not inhale. Now, there's no punctuation in this. So the first line says, lead pellets, do not inhale. I already knew that. They're inanimate. They don't have lungs. Why would they? The next line says, pellet dust or put pellets in mouth. So obviously it meant me to say, lead pellets, full stop, maybe. Do not inhale pellet dust or put pellets in mouth. Wash hands after handling. Lead is a toxic substance listed under CA Prop 65, which will be a Californian law, as causing reproductive toxicity. Always wear protective eyewear. So we were coming towards the nanny state then, even 27 years ago. Wasps were considered a great pellet, and I'm going to put them right there, because in the 1990s, Crossman turned up with their Premier pellets, and I remember Crossman Premiers as being pretty much the best you could get at the time. They're a good pellet. You can see, comparing them to the Milborough Caledonians, you can see they're a better quality. They're just made better. There's less sticky out bits. They're just better. But then they brought out the boxed ones. Now the ones in the cardboard box were for some reason better. The reason escapes me. I think it may have been they were the first pressings off a particular mould, or they were graded before they were sent out. I don't know, but I do have some also in 2.0 caliber and in 2.2 caliber. These belong to Mike, but I will be using some of them because he said I could. And these were £13.95. Now that would have been a lot of money for those in their day. And I'm going to put them there. They may perform better, but I'm going to put them there. And next is going to come Superdome. Now, I've always liked Superdomes. They've always been a good quality pellet. You'll find in a lot of Virox, in a lot of Virox Springers, a Superdome will give you the best power results, the highest power, and the best consistency. In 2.2 in particular, I often see 2 feet a second variation over 10 shots with a Superdome. The problem is, out past 30 yards, they tend to fall out the sky. You will know if you shoot these. These make a different noise to other pellets. These go through the air. That's because of the little serrations on the back there. It's a great design, but they slow down faster than other pellets in my experience, and past 30-35 yards they're just dropping out the sky, but I like them. Next we have Exacts and Air Arms Diablo Fields. Now, lots of people say these are the same pellet. They're not. I think they might be made in the same factory, but when you actually look at the pellets, you can see that they are different. They are different. Certainly these ones are. Come on, out you come. They're different in the skirt. The way the skirt is formed, the way the hollow is in the back there, they are different, but looking at them from the outside, they look identical. I don't know if that varies batch to batch, but certainly with the ones I have here, that is the case. These are with H&N field target trophies, which I don't have any of in 177. They're my go-to pellets for testing. Okay, those three, Exacts, Diablos and H&N FTTs are my go-to accuracy testing pellets. Then Mike gave me some of these, QYSs. I've only tried them in my BSA so far, and that's terrible. So I don't know, but that's supposed to be better. So I'm putting those two there together, and that one half in front of it. Now I don't know, actually I don't know if you can see all of the table in that shot. If you can't, the order I'm putting this in is Caledonian, Flying Scot, Wasp, Standard Premier, Box Premier, Superdome, Diablo Fields and Exacts, and then half a nose ahead the QYS. And the QYS I'm only putting there from anecdotal evidence. In my experience, they're no better because the only gun I've got to test them in is currently misbehaving. That's why I'm doing this. So the gun is going to be coming apart. I'm going to be looking at the shroud. I'm going to be looking at other things. And I will be doing my pellet testing with boxed Premiers, Superdomes, Diablos and Exacts and QYSs. They are going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pellets I will be using for that gun. If you disagree with the order I put on this, or if you've got any stories from the past about using any of this old dross, do leave a comment down below. You know I like to hear from you. I'm going to sneeze. Am I going to sneeze? No, but I am ever so tickly nosed. Now, here we go. This is the big one, 2.2 pellets. I've got a lot of these because I've got a lot of 2.2 air rifles. And I'm going to grab immediately my current PCP's favourite pellets, which are these two here, which I have a full tin and an almost empty tin. These are Jumbo Exact Heavies. These are 18.13 grains. And I love these pellets. More importantly, my Reximex Meta Plus loves these pellets. PCPs prefer a heavier pellet. Springers prefer a lighter pellet. I had a customer contact me last night or this morning. He's just fitted a kit and he's only getting, I think it's 9 foot-pounds. What should he do? I said, well, what pellets are you using? And he was using 18.5. I don't know if it's these ones, but it was 18.5 grain pellets. I said, okay, use a 13 to 14 grain pellet. You will see the power go up and it will shoot better. Springers prefer a lighter pellet. PCPs prefer a heavier pellet. But when that's all said and done, the pellet you use is the one that's most accurate in your gun. And these are the most accurate I've used so far in my Reximex Meta Plus. It loves them. It will put them. If you've seen the video, I don't think I've done a video since I bought the DNT Zulus 5 to 20 LRF digital scope. I've got one of those on it now, which means I can film through the scope while I'm shooting. I should do that again because when I was testing it, it took me a little while to get that gun accurate. I had to do a few tweaks to it. There's videos on it if you want to go back and look at that. But now that it puts these pellets through the same hole every time at 42 meters off a bench. The same hole. You can't get more accurate than that as far as I'm concerned. I know some people can. Bench rest shooters, that wouldn't be enough. It has to go and not be able to see that the other pellet's gone through the hole. That's what they want. But anyway, so my PCP loves those, but please don't use them in a Springer. Next, I am going to look for what I think is the oldest ones here, and we'll go by age. But I may be wrong when I say that, because I don't actually know all of these pellets. In fact, I'm gonna pull out the ones that I think aren't really worth looking at first, which is Abbey Diablos. It looks like a Millbrook Caledonian. No great shakes. The Vipers. Now I opened this and went, oh my god, because it looks. In fact, I'm going to put this on the lid. I'm going to bring it round and show you in the camera, because otherwise you just won't believe me. Hang on a moment. Come into focus, you bugger. There you go. Look at that now. There's only one way of describing that. It's a butt plug, isn't it? Who wants to shoot butt plugs out there? Out there, offers. Answers down below in comments, please. I don't know. Maybe they work. Maybe they work, but I think it's more likely a gimmick to try and get you to part with your cash. Oh, it's a new design. It's more efficient. It's this, that, and the other. No, it's not. It's not. Right, so they're going to go there for the moment. Oh, bloody hay fever. Black Ops Soul. These are quite recent. They look shiny. They look nice. Except for the fact they've got a moulding mark. A very pronounced moulding mark down each side of the pellet. So open them and think, oh, they look good. Now, there's a bit of excess lead down both sides of the pellet. That's just going to go all over the place. I might even shoot a few on another video just to show you. In fact, that might be an idea. Do some, I know people always do accuracy testing. How about some inaccuracy testing? Put some real dross down the barrel and see what happens. Oh, here's a French tickler for you. The Barracuda Hunter Extreme. It's a Phillips head. I don't know why. Expansion, I expect, is the reason they give. I did try these. They weren't very accurate. Not impressed. Any other toss here? Now, these aren't, but these are a blast from the past. Barracudas. These are the original Barracudas. These are the 1980s Barracudas. You drop one of these on your toe, you knew about it. That's a heavy pellet, and it's a long pellet. I got some Barracudas recently. Two different types, Barracuda Match and Barracuda 18, when I was doing the when I was doing the testing for my Reximex. Now, they're longer than most. They really are. But you can see where the DNA is coming from this one. This one's a slightly different shape, a little bit more pointed on the nose, but like the Superdome, it has serrations, the lines down the skirt there. And I'm guessing aerodynamically that just doesn't perform as well. But these were considered to be a very, very good. They were one of the early FT target pellets, because they were head and shoulders above other pellets of their time. And other pellets of their time were not those. Wasps. I have a lot of wasps here. Excessive amount of wasps. But wasps, there was an awful lot of. And there was your Webleys. Okay, so Webley pellets were made for Webley guns. They're short, they're dumpy, they're not particularly well made. They've got serrations everywhere they could get a serration, acts like a shuttlecock. They performed as well as they did in the guns of the time. Now, here's another thing, and this is going to be a different video. Oh my days. These are jets. These are jets. 3 rings and a pointed head. 3 rings and a pointed head. They were rubbish. But again, 3 rings, well, it's got to be more powerful, and it's pointed, so it's good for hunting. No, it goes straight through. Wouldn't even slow down. And they're 177s with a 2.2 lid on them. Mike, what are you doing? So other ones of their time were Wasps and the Webley Grand Prix. And if you get an old gun, if you get a 1980s gun. These are, I believe, these are 1980s pellets, early 80s pellets. The Wasps are still available in the purple tins. These were available until, oh crikey, I don't know. I don't know when they were available till, but this one was £2.90 for the tin. We used to have to go to Scats if we wanted Wasps, because these were the absolute pinnacle at the time in the early to mid 80s of pellets. They were the pinnacle. And these are the 5.6mm ones. And I've got 2.5 tins of them here, but they're Mike's, not mine. But when Barracudas came along, they outperformed it. The Wasps outperformed these, in my experience. And then these came along and outperformed the Wasp. And this is where a lot of our advancement for accuracy has come from. People think that modern air rifles are more accurate than older ones. Sometimes they're right, of course. But the HW77 has been around since 1983, I believe, which is 32 years ago? 42. 42 years ago. Man, I'm old. 42 years ago, the HW77 came out and they're still making it now. In 1983, if you had an HW77, first of all, it was a 2.2. Because 177 still wasn't legal even between consenting adults in their own home. So it had to be a 2.2, but you were putting Wasps through it, or you were putting Webley Grand Prix through it. If you get that same gun now, and you put some of our more advanced modern pellets through it, you will find it shoots every bit as accurately as a minty fresh one out of the factory, because our technology in the pellets has moved forwards, and that's what's got us the gain in accuracy, not the gun necessarily, because a 77 was always a fantastically capable gun, but the pellets have improved, and the pellets at the end of the day are what give you your accuracy. So these came out, FT started, and the world changed. It was a change. So all of this lot is consigned to the history channel, not history channel, to the annals of history. Oh, I found another useless one here. Gamo Pro Hunter. Yeah, they're going to go in the pile of things which I don't think are going to be very good. I may be wrong, but I'm putting it in the pile of things I don't think will be very good. We'll do a video on those as well. So the world changed. Accupels. Again, same as with the 177s. Accupel came along. All of a sudden we had these well-made, shiny, smooth pellets that all looked the same, all weighed the same, and all shot the same. That was the biggest thing. It was the consistency. The shot-to-shot consistency, the pellet-to-pellet consistency of manufacture. They came out. And then we had our boxed Crossman Premiers. Again, same as that, which were, I believe, graded before being sent out. They were game changers. The Superdome, again, brilliant pellet, out to 30 yards. Then it falls out the sky. Bisley Pest Controls. These were always recommended for an FAC 2.2 air rifle because of the weight, and because an FAC 2.2 air rifle is usually, excuse me, usually a PCP. And I know a guy who was running a gun shop and he swore by these, absolutely swore by them. But again, I've never found anything where they're particularly impressive accuracy wise, and I will always take accuracy over hitting power, because hitting the target is the most important thing. So I'm going to pop them there. Now, FTT greens. I love FTT pellets. I've got a big tin of them here. I get through lots of those in my Viroc spring air rifles. If people say, what pellet should I start testing with? In my Viroc spring powered 2.2 air rifles, the FTT is always in the top 2 for accuracy. For that reason, I use it for all of them. Simply because if it's not the most accurate, it's going to be the second most accurate. It's good enough for me. I don't hunt, I only plink. That's fine. They're a fantastic pellet. Start with them. But these lead-free ones, one day, they will be good. One day we might not have a choice. That could happen as well. But at the moment, we have a choice. And the choice is, these are no good. They'll give good performance. On paper, they'll look good. But when it reaches the target, less so. I think it's, at the moment, they're trying to make them lead free by using antimony, Jim Chiru. No, God, he's like Tourette's, isn't it? Antimony and tin mix, and it's just not good enough. It's too hard and it's not heavy enough. I think until we move over to depleted uranium, we're not going to get a decent lead-free pellet. So come on, manufacturers, let's get that depleted uranium going. Much better than lead. Oh, just spotted, I do have some pointed pellets, but they're sealed. They're going there. What are these? These are more Webley dross. They go there. Diablo fields right up there with the field target trophies, as are my barracudas. The only reason I got two different types there is for the weights. They're terrible, they're terrible, they're terrible, they're terrible. Then we've got Bisley Pest Control, already done that. I've got another 10 of those. We do get flatheads in 2.2. A bit weird because target shooting is predominantly what they're for, and target guns are predominantly 177. But we do have some hobbies and some match 2.2 flatheads. Again, the same as with the 177s, apart from using them on paper where they punch a clean hole, close range hunting, they are literally a knockout. Squirrels in particular hate hobbies. You can knock them out the tree with those. So a hole punch straight through. And then we've got here, I've got some Kugeln Diablos for a Luftgewehr. That's sealed shut. We'll never know. We'll never know. But they're kind of going down here because they're not what you'd use for accuracy testing. And these ones, I didn't mean to save them for last, but I have. Now these have got a hat on. Hip, 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 hooray. No, stop it. Let me, again, pause this, come around here and show you what I mean. I mean, this is, I'm sure somebody in marketing thought that's a fantastic idea. People will love that. Let me show you these little groovers. Now, I don't know if you can see that. They've got a little nipple on the top. You see that? It's kind of like, well, I'm a roundhead, I'm a roundhead, I'm a roundhead, and then now I've got a nipple on the top. I don't know what the nipple was supposed to do. Maybe you remember these pellets. I don't remember these ones in particular. But if you do remember them and do remember what the marketing scam was, please comment below. I would love to know. So that's it. And the reason these sprung to mind, they don't even look like what's on the tin. And these have come from Mike. So there's a damn good chance that's not even the right lid from them. They might not even be champions thinking about it. But they have got a weird nipple on the top. And the reason this caught my eye was there was a pellet in the mid-80s called the Champion Ballistic. And it was kind of like a normal pellet, but from memory, it was more straight-sided like a slug rather than wasted. It's probably in one of my magazines downstairs. Should have brought one up. I should have thunk this through before I started this video, but never mind. I'll never do that. I'll never do that. That's what they expect you to do. But apart from being a funny shape, and it did have rings if I remember, it also had a steel BB embedded in the front of it. I think it was called the Champion Ballistic, the pellet with the heart of steel. I don't know what their reasoning was behind that. I really don't. And I would love to, because I did buy it. I fell for that. We all did. I had Prometheus. I've had Sabos. I've had ballistic, whatever they were, hand gels. What are they? Ballistic. Champion Ballistics. That was it. Because we fell for it, because it was designed to catch us, not the fish. Although that's with the fishing gear. So that's it. And if you've got a 2.2 air rifle, and you want to start pellet testing, if it's a spring powered one, you look in here. Field target trophies, any of the Barracuda range, Diablo fields or exacts. Superdomes are great for plinking at close range. They tend to be cheaper, but that's it. The rest of it even, I mean, the rest of it, you don't need to be trying, I don't think. Stick to the well-known, proper shaped ones. You're going to find one your gun likes. And if it's a PCP, you want a heavier pellet. If it's a Springer, you want a lighter pellet. And that's it. I have now sorted my pellets out into calibers. And I'm going to find a box for each, keep them together in the right order, and put the ones that are terrible to the bottom. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to take some of the ones that are terrible, which I think are going to be... I'm going into this wrong, aren't I? You should never go into an experiment expecting a certain result. You should go in with an open mind. So I will go in with an open mind, and I will use some of these terrible pellets and show how rubbish they are in another video. Like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you for sitting through this one. It's just a... I like pellets, I like variations, I like all the options we have nowadays, but I just thought I'd share with you what I've got in boxes. And thank you and goodbye.